all hell broke loose. He was an ambush by a Slaughterman and Tommy Truck together with the goons. Slaughterman showed no mercy as his lasers tore through night views as they fight him. You thought you could stop us? You're nothing. Nothing. You're just a bug, and Tommy crushes bugs. In this video, I'm creating another hero for my growing superhero universe. I already introduced Neverface, a thief who stole an ancient relic and was cursed with mythical powers, and Blink, a speedster born from an illegal experiment. Today, I'm adding a brand new character to this universe. We're building his backstory, his powers, and the world he operates in, and even his nemesis. Alright, let's cook. He was only 20 years old and already born into a legacy most people will spend their entire lives chasing. Meet Isaiah Moore, the only son of Marcus and Stella Moore, the minds behind Intellect, one of the most advanced robotics and aeronautic companies in the country and maybe the world. So while other kids were learning how to play and gather Pokemon cards, Isaiah was building Pokemons, literally. Labs instead of playgrounds, prototypes instead of toys, technology that was years ahead of the world right at his fingertips. And it showed. Isaiah didn't just attend MIT, he dominated it, graduating at the top of his class, setting records in applied robotics, publishing work most professors could only critique but not replicate. By 20, he wasn't just one of the smartest minds in the country, he was already being talked about as one of the best in the world, and he was one of the board of directors in Intellect. But intelligence was never the only thing he worked on. Isaiah trained his body the same way he trained his mind. He was athletic, sharp, and controlled. On the outside, he looked like the perfect product of privilege and talent, and he knew it. He was confident, overconfident, and had a cocky swagger about him. He carried himself like someone who believed he was already above the room the moment he walked into it. But even with all of that, the intelligence, the resources, the fame, Isaiah wanted more. Isaiah grew up in a world where a man could run at the speed of sound and save an entire city before anyone realized something was wrong. A world where a man dressed like a mummy was being celebrated as a hero. A world where stories of a man, maybe a god, could fly through the sky, lift buildings and end wars under 2 minutes. A world where people no longer needed guns to rob banks or to overthrow government. And to understand Isaiah, you have to stop here, because none of that happened by accident. This is the moment that gave birth to this universe, the moment that changed everything. Everyone alive at that time remember where they were on New Year's Eve, 1960. It was the last year the world still felt normal. Millions of people gathered across cities and continents for the countdown. There were fireworks and festivals waiting for the clock to hit midnight. And then it happened. No explosion, no fire, no buildings coming down, just a massive shockwave that swept through the crowd. It didn't destroy the world, it rewrote it. What that wave did was activate something that already existed, a genetic anomaly buried deep inside a small number of people, and whoever planted it knew exactly how to find them. They didn't target laboratories or governments, they targeted people. Crowded cities, public celebrations, one moment, one night. And by the time the fireworks faded, the age of normal was over. That night, people didn't feel different at first. Some went home, some kissed their partners, some fell asleep even before the midnight ended. And then the morning came. A woman woke up screaming as flames poured out of her hands, not burning her skin, but turning her bedroom and even her kids into ash. A boy touched cars or anything mechanical and it obeyed him. A child hugged his mother too tightly. And well, across the world, hospitals filled up overnight. Doctors stood in hallways staring at patients they couldn't touch. People restrained to beds, not because they were violent, but because they were afraid of themselves. Some powers activated quietly, sharper hearing, faster reflexes, strange harmless things. Others were not quiet at all. Entire apartment blocks were evacuated. Neighborhoods went dark. Emergency lines collapsed under the weight of calls no one was prepared to answer. And some people never learned control. Families were torn apart in seconds. Parents killed children by accident. Children killed parents without meaning to. By the end of the week, the headlines stopped counting. Government called it an attack from rival nations. Scientists called it an evolution. Some kind of soup gene. This event gave birth to an uprising. Lawsuits, family demanding answers from governments that had none. Cults were formed, movements arose. For years, no one was able to find out who set the bombs, why, and how was it able to affect every part of the world. But what we do know is that nothing remained the same. Because of the people who couldn't control their powers, this gave birth to the ideas that ages had to create their own super soldiers, which gave birth to Blink and other soups. Do well to check that video out if you haven't. So, Isaiah grew up in a world where brilliance didn't save lives. Power did. And if power was the new language of the world, then he was going to learn how to speak it. Now that we have built the world he's going to be operating in, let's build him as a character. What made Isaiah Moore a superhero? Hawthorne City. The city Isaiah grew up in was deep into crime, especially the lower wing of the city. It was one of the most affected part of the city from the blast. Over the years, the carriers of the first soup gene gave birth to kids who inherited that gene and got powers, so on and so forth. This meant more superpower thugs, more street criminals, but where there is darkness, there is light. It also meant a ragtag group of vigilantes, the Alley Brigadiers. The Alley Brigadiers is a small team of superheroes who teamed up to protect their neighborhood and city from these superpower thugs and normal thugs in general. It was made up of Battalion. He was a one-man army. He could duplicate himself to uncountable amounts. Sonic, she has screaming powers. Night Fuse, he had electricity powers, and Pac-Man, he could turn into any animal of his choice. They were usually on the news for saving lives and stopping crime. They didn't need an MIT certificate or a net worth of over $100 million to do it. This inspired Isaiah to want to make a difference in the city outside of his contributions to the tech world. To do this, he was going to create his own superpower. Using his intellect, he designed his own suit that was bullet and fireproof, a visor that had different viewing modes and helped him calculate how accurate he could throw his projectiles in real time. He built his projectiles to have several tricks. They can freeze you on impact, blow up like bombs on impact, flash bangs, and even adhesive to glue criminals to the wall on impact. With these gears, he had his first cameo as a superhero, where he saved the shop owner from being robbed by thugs. They roughed him up pretty good, but he did well as a debutant hero. The shop owner thanked him and told him, "You're my hero." If he was ever gonna stop, that nod of approval gave him more to be a superhero and help people. He kept on going out at night until he ran into the Alley Brigadiers in the fight with some big name thugs with high-end weapons. They were entrusted to seeing that the batch of hard drugs would deliver safely. In the heat of the battle, and Isaiah watching from the sidelines, he jumped in saving Sonic. As a thug that was behind her was about to shoot, using his trinket, he throws out the gun on the bullet mid-air, saving Sonic's life. With Isaiah's help, they were able to stop the shipment of the drugs and some of the goons, as a few of them ran away mid-fight. Isaiah introduced himself to the Alley Brigadiers. They welcomed him well as he saved one of their own, except Battalion, who, on knowing that he's a Moor, immediately resented him and didn't trust him. The others welcomed Isaiah as they headed to their hideouts. He started joining them on missions and patrols while him and Sonic were building a connection. Of course, our buddy here Battalion didn't like this too much. On top of that, Isaiah being a smart ass, he'd poke holes on Battalion's mission plans and strategies, and the team would mess with Isaiah's plan more. And it usually worked out. He designed gears that helped the team carry out tasks. This man was already becoming the leader of the Brigadiers. At least that's how Battalion saw it. One day, they got an intel about a bust that was going to happen, and this bust was going to be spearheaded by Slaughterman, a notorious villain known for his ruthlessness. He possesses super strength and laser abilities. And Tommy Truck, an ambitious street villain who can manipulate anything mechanical, especially vehicles. This was unlike the villains they fought before. They go on to seek advice from someone who have fought them in the past. A veteran superhero known for his A-grade combat skills and durability, he was one of the first vigilantes in Hawthorne City, and his name Anchor Fist. He advised them not to pursue the intel or the mission, and if they loved their lives, they should go back to living as normal young adults. He chased them away. Isaiah, of course, came up with a plan on how they take down the villain team, how they won't see them coming. Battalion, as always, interjected and opted for leaving the mission as Anchor Fist advised. With Isaiah's track record in making good plans and strategies, the other teammates trusted him. They went to the spot the boss was supposed to happen. It was a nuclear reactor that was going to be stolen. This doesn't make any sense. Why would they want to steal a nuclear reactor? It's not their MO. Battalion was telling the team. They went in, of course. The plan was to move the reactor before the boss was going to happen and switch it with a lookalike designed by Isaiah, so that when the villains take the nuclear reactor and drive away with it, it's going to explode with adhesives that will glue them together, waiting for the police. But entering the facility and all the doors shutting, all hell broke loose. It was an ambush by a Slaughterman and Tommy Truck together with the goons. Slaughterman showed no mercy as his lasers tore through night views as the fight began. The brigadiers were getting massacred one by one. Battalion duplicated into many versions of him, but all the duplicates were either getting crushed or had their body parts stretched out by Slaughterman's lasers. Isaiah was beaten to a pulp as he could only watch from the floor as Sonic, his girlfriend, was getting her head pounded by a mechanical robot Tommy Truck formed. He was distraught and screaming as her body dropped to the floor. Tommy walked towards him. You thought you could stop us? You're nothing. Nothing. You're just a bug. And Tommy crushes bugs. As he was about to pounce on Isaiah, who seemed to have accepted his fate, the punch was stopped mid-air by Anchor Fist. Remember him? Yeah, he blocked Tommy's punch, giving him a soccer uppercut that pushed him back. Before Slaughterman and Tommy could react, Anchor Fist reached into Isaiah's pocket, grabbed one of his trinkets and hit it on the floor, and a thick smoke covered the room, giving them time to escape. With the building already covered in fire and dead heroes, Slaughterman and Tommy Truck left the facility being the victors. This event would go on to traumatize Isaiah, wanting to seek immediate revenge. But Anchor Fist would be a mentor and a guide through his trauma. He would later train Isaiah to be a better fighter and strategist, and made him mentally strong to be able to prepare for the next time he would cross paths with Tommy Truck and Slaughterman. He used to call himself Bug. A bug in the heart of crime in Hawthorne City. The bug that will alter the corruption and evil in the city. With his new enhanced suit, geared up with his trinkets of all sorts, blades that come out of his fist if needs be, laser wings that help him maintain balance on the air when he's making high leaps, and to top it all, his advanced fighting and combat skills, with his intellect guided by a figurehead as Anchor Fist. Isaiah Moore, Bug, became a force to reckon with, and his nemesis, well, let's just say a certain someone who could duplicate himself was able to save himself during the massacre. Battalion sustained injuries, but with his last strength he was able to duplicate, and his duplicates carried his body and treated him. He never knew his duplicates could possess a functional brain even while the original was half dead. They sought to his treatment, and when he woke up, he swore on his life to kill Isaiah and everything and everyone that he loved. So yeah, that is the origin story of my character Bug and his former teammate turned nemesis Battalion. Duplicating powers are usually overlooked and used for side and unimportant characters, so I thought it'd be fun to change that to Battalion. And trust me, there is no level of hate that you've watched or witnessed that would be up to what Battalion would have for Bug. That being said, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please smash the like button and subscribe. Peace out.